How's it going, everyone? Today is an exciting day both for the project Saab, as you can tell from the title of the video, but also for my 2003 2.0 9.3 that is sitting right out there. As you can tell, it doesn't have a front bumper on right now, and that is because it is headed off to Mako here shortly to get dropped off to have the whole car repainted. I'll be doing a separate video on this car. Pretty much I already filmed like the intro of it, and I'm gonna go drop it off, and then when I pick it up in 2 or 3 weeks, I'll be showing, you know, what it looks like before and after and all that stuff. So that video will come in time, of course, once the car is done being painted. But that's not what today's video is about. Today's video is about prepping the project Saab for paint. And the reason why I say prepping is because we're not going to be like taking the bumper off and stuff like that. What we're going to be doing on the project Saab is, because it's a linear, it has the side skirts on it, and this is a facelift, so of course it's slightly different. But the side skirts on it are not painted. They're the black textured plastic, and the rear bumper trim, which the facelifts don't have the rear bumper trim, but the bumper trim that goes around the bottom of the rear bumper, that is also the textured black plastic. So pretty much when we took the cars in for an estimate, Mako said, we can paint these, but the paint's not going to hold to it because it's textured. It's not smooth like a painted surface. So we can either paint it and it'll slowly fall off over time, or we can do it for like $150 each, sand each side skirt down and the rear bumper trim down, and then paint it. Or you can find your own side skirts and bumper trim and basically bring them in. So of course the cheapest option was to find our own side skirts and rear bumper trim. So I've been hard at work looking at junkyards everywhere finding these parts. We found a rear bumper trim about a week ago, and then I luckily found a side skirt. I'm just gonna head out here to this car because this car looks more closer to the project Saab than the Turbo X does. So we found the rear bumper trim at a junkyard a couple weeks ago, so that one was sorted out. That one we found pretty easily. Now the problem with junkyards here in Phoenix is, of course, they always have the cars jacked up, as I'm sure you've seen in videos or just, you know, from your own junkyard experience. But where they jack them up, because these side skirts, they fold under here about probably 6 inches at least, they always pinch the side skirt or put it right on the edge here and smash the side skirt. So it's pretty much impossible to find side skirts at junkyards that are either 1, not pinched, or 2, not destroyed. So in the last couple of weeks, I've been searching all over junkyards. I found one good side skirt, actually the same, off of the same car where I got the hood and bumper for this car off of. So I found a passenger side skirt, took that. It was only $10, so great deal. Of course it's painted this color, so it's already smoothed down. Now for the driver's side one, really struggled to find one on that same car. It was punctured in the back and damaged, and all the other ones have been damaged as well. But I was able to find one on a site called CarPart, which is pretty much a site that takes, like, I guess, salvage lots where they have cars that are salvaged for some reason. I found a side skirt. I called like 4 or 5 different places. Pretty much the cheapest place said they wanted $85 for one, which is still way more expensive than a junkyard, but it was really our only option. So I went there, picked one of those up. And now, of course, we have our rear bumper trim, we have our passenger side skirt, and we have our driver's side skirt, all 3 of which are different colors and off of 3 different cars. But that means when the project Saab gets painted, instead of having that ugly textured black stuff around the bottom of the car, it'll have painted, I guess, ground effects, you can call it, just like that car does. So today we're going to be prepping it for the paint, in the sense that we're not going to be installing the new side skirts or bumper trim, but we are going to be removing the old side skirts and the old bumper trim. And then we're going to take both cars up to Mako, so it should be a fun day, a very exciting day, something that she's been waiting for a long time, and something that I pondered doing for at least a year now, and now that she's doing it, I kind of decided, screw it, I'm going to do it for this car too. One thing I should mention briefly is that we are taking both cars to Mako to get painted, and before you go and slander Mako in the comments, understand that neither of these cars are worth, they're worth like $3 grand on a good day, each one of them. So why would we spend, so I'm trying to do that with one hand, somehow miraculously fold that up with one hand. that, you know, why would we spend more than what the car is worth on a paint job for the car? It doesn't make sense. So Mako is the route, and if you have a problem with that, then I apologize. But neither of us are getting the cheap, like $600 option. We're both getting the, like, they have like 6 levels of paint, and we're both getting the 4th out of 6 levels, which has a 4-year warranty with it and has like a UV clear coat, and it has some nice perks to it. In my video where I'm going to be talking about painting my car, I'll go more in depth about the quote for my car and why Mako, and just kind of explain it a little bit more, but that's not really the point of this video, and I already explained it in depth in that video because I already recorded the intro of that video, but you won't see that video for a while, like I said. But now, with that being said, even though this intro has been far longer than it needs to be, let's head up to the project Saab. So we got the first side off, but there's sprinklers on this side, so yeah, not gonna get the camera wet. So Mako closes in 15 minutes. We have about a 15-minute drive because she just got her windshield replaced. Of course, that took much longer than it should have because it didn't work on the car for like 30 minutes. So needless to say, we rushed, took off the side skirts, the rear spoiler that we put on it. I don't even know if I've mentioned that, but we put an aero spoiler on the back of the car, and the rear bumper trim. So now we are off to Mako in both the cars, and I've still got my bumper right here. But yeah, this is going to be a very busy last 30 minutes or so trying to get all that stuff off. It was not fun just sitting here waiting for the light to turn. Sorry for the road noise. I'm filming on my phone because I forgot my camera, but side skirts are off, bumper trim's off. We're here at Mako. Got here right when they closed, so I feel kind of bad, but the cars are here. In a couple of weeks they should be done. Alright guys, so I'm kind of leaning down here. I'm not actually this short, as I'm sure you've been able to tell in other videos, but I'm currently using the 9.3 Aero as a camera stand. But I wanted to use this time, I guess the outro I suppose, to kind of explain what happened in this video, because it really turned into being a video on removing the side skirts, the rear bumper trim, doing stuff like that. It really turned into like 30 seconds worth of that, and then a whole bunch of talking. So I apologize for that, but to kind of explain that last clip there, pretty much what happened was her windshield was supposed to get replaced at 3. This is after weeks of dealing with this windshield company. Pretty much took it there at 3. They, you know, normally that shouldn't take more than an hour at the most, and they kind of said that to us, so I figure, okay, we'll be done by 4 at the worst. We can go back to your house, which is like 10 minutes away, take all this stuff off, and then we can go to Mako, get there by 5. Of course, that windshield took about an hour and a half. Got back to her house at like 4:40 or so probably. So then I was rushing, took off both the side skirts, the rear bumper trim, her aero spoiler, and yeah, so I did all that in about 15-20 minutes or so. Then we kind of, I did Mako the courtesy of calling them, because someone that also works in retail, I guess part-time during school, Mako isn't necessarily retail, but if a business closes at a certain time, it's kind of disrespectful to show up like right when they close. So I wanted to call them before we went. I'm like, hey, we ran into some issues. We were supposed to drop the cars off today, but we're not going to be able to make it till pretty much right when you guys close. Is that okay? And he's like, yeah, that's okay if you guys already got your estimates and everything, which we had. So they were thankful, or they were thankfully, you know, courteous, and I thank them profusely for letting us come by last minute. But we got there probably like 10 minutes before they closed, showed them everything that was going on with the cars, what's painted, what's not getting painted, all this other stuff. And I also wanted to show right now, before the video ends, I'll overlay some pictures here of the Project Saab's paint right now before it got painted, so that way you guys can kind of better visualize, you know, how bad, I don't want to say how bad, because it honestly probably wasn't as bad as my 2.0, although there's some debate for that. But it really had bad sunspots in a lot of areas. As you can see, it almost looked pink because, you know, I guess laser red when it fades kind of turns to pink and then white. So it wasn't really in great shape, so that's really why she wanted to get it painted. But yeah, now the car is off at paint currently as I speak. That car should take about 2 weeks, and the reason why it's taking so long is because Mako's really backed up right now. They kind of gave us that 2-week timetable when we got an estimate for the cars, which is probably at least 2 or 3 weeks before we took the cars in. So we knew it was going to take this long, you know, no big deal, it happens. As long as the cars look good in the end, that's really all I care about. But yeah, that's pretty much going to wrap it up for this video, guys. The next video on the project Saab, I guess, will be picking it up from paint. So that car should be done before my ARC. My ARC, it does have some dents and dings I'm getting fixed. Has a couple on the doors and just some bad scratches on the rear quarter. So I'm having them do a little bit of, I guess, body work to the car. So they said it's going to take a little bit extra time, understandable, of course. So yeah, with that being said, let me know down below in the comments if you guys are excited. Of course, the car, I don't even think I mentioned this, the car is going to be staying laser red, and my 2.0 is going to be staying midnight blue. They're going to be staying the same colors. It's just the easiest. We both like the colors on our cars respectively, so no reason to change them. Yeah. That's about it for this video. So if you guys enjoyed, make sure you give it a thumbs up. I'm really excited to see how both cars turn out, particularly the project Saab, because it's going to have that painted front lip, it's going to have the painted side skirts, painted rear spoiler. It's pretty much going to look like an Arrow. So I'm really excited to see how good, because laser red Arrows look really good. So with that being said, for like the 4th time now, if you enjoyed the video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. I promise I'll try to not do so much talking in the future, because I know you guys would rather see me and us working on the cars as opposed to just talking in front of the camera like this. But here I am, again, continuing to drag this video on. Bye. And right as I say I'm ending the video, I realize I completely neglected to mention one small detail that some of you might have noticed. When I showed the project Saab there, right there in that last clip at Mako, you might have noticed that it had the stock linear wheels on the back and it had the Turbo X wheels on the front. That's another topic for a whole different video again, I suppose, but pretty much Discount Tire damaged my Turbo X wheels, 2 of them. Balancing them really scratched up the barrels, so those are currently getting fixed at Discount Tire. So the car had the linear wheels on the back and it has the Turbo X wheels on the front, and it was only driven to the windshield place in Discount Tire, so just to drive it temporarily like that, not a big deal. Again, 18s on the front axle, 16s on the rear, so it's not really a huge deal. But now I'm done talking. Sorry for the extensive rant, and bye again.